Item Number SCP-Y-041. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-Y-041 is contained within Sub-Level Omega, a secured subterranean zone beneath Site-Y2. Access to this level is granted solely to personnel with Level 4 clearance or higher, and all activities are strictly monitored. The containment of SCP-Y-041 is divided into multiple layers of physical, technological, and procedural safeguards to mitigate the anomaly's risk and prevent unauthorized use. Stairwell Access. The stone stairwell leading to SCP-Y-041's chamber is secured with a Class 5 biometric lock system, requiring retinal, fingerprint, and voice authentication. The stairwell itself is monitored by motion detectors and thaumaturgic field scanners to detect unauthorized movement or abnormal reality fluctuations. Midway down the stairwell, personnel must pass through Checkpoint Omega, a fortified chamber equipped with an automatic lockdown mechanism. Personnel must submit identification badges, provide verbal confirmation of their assigned task, and undergo a psychological stability scan to ensure mental preparedness before proceeding further. The stairwell is protected by automated sentry turrets, equipped with non-lethal and lethal options, triggered by unauthorized access attempts. In the event of an SCP breach or external assault, reinforced blast doors at both ends of the stairwell will automatically seal, with no manual override possible without Site Director approval. The Workshop and Anomalous Space. The Anomalous Workshop, where SCP-Y-041 resides, spans approximately 1,200 square meters, despite the apparent size of the stairwell not matching. Advanced thermal imaging cameras, thaumaturgic sensors, and reality anchors continuously monitor the space for temperature fluctuations, spatial distortions, or signs of anomalous activity. The workshop is illuminated with specialized no-glare LEDs to prevent visual distortions and reduce strain on personnel. Access to specified areas within the workshop, including SCP-Y-041, is restricted through zone clearance levels, with physical barriers separating individual crafting stations. Each forge in the workshop is tagged with unique identifiers corresponding to its specialization, e.g., Forge A for weaponry, Forge B for armor. SCP-Y-041, designated as Forge C, is isolated at the far end of the chamber behind a reinforced transparent partition constructed from hardened thaumium-infused plexiglass, resistant to heat, pressure, and minor reality shifts. Although SCP-Y-041's flame adapts its heat to suit any crafting process, external temperature monitoring systems are in place to detect unusual fluctuations that may indicate emergent anomalous activity. An emergency coolant system is installed to flood the chamber with cryogenic gas in the event of a thermal anomaly. While SCP-Y-041's flame is described as unrelinquishable under normal conditions, an experimental suppression array utilizing reverse polarized thaumaturgic energy is in place as a failsafe. Activation of this array requires unanimous approval from the Site Director, Ethics Committee Liaison, and Thaumaturgy Research Division Head. Use of SCP-Y-041 is restricted to pre-approved testing scenarios under the direct supervision of Level 4 personnel assigned by the Site Director. Crafting sessions must be logged in detail, including the identity of the forger, the type of object created, and the duration of use. Any individual who uses SCP-Y-041 must undergo daily psychological evaluations for the next 3 days. Sleep patterns, mental stability, and cognitive functions are assessed to track the progression of the anomalous dreams induced by SCP-Y-041. Individuals reporting interactions with SCP-Y-041-1 are immediately quarantined for observation and detailed briefing. Every object created using SCP-Y-041 is assigned a unique designation, and stored in a high-security containment vault at Site-Y2. Each item undergoes a 3-stage evaluation. Initial inspection for physical abnormalities. Psychological testing with D-Class personnel to determine sentience and personality traits. Combat testing in controlled environments to assess anomalous effects. Y-041-2 instances are stored in individual, reinforced lockers lined with thaumaturgic dampeners to inhibit telepathic communication. Items displaying extreme aggression or high-risk anomalous properties are moved to Vault Theta, a maximum security chamber with additional reality anchors and psychic shielding. Vault Theta currently only contains one object. Live testing with Y-041-2 instances is heavily restricted. All testing scenarios require Ethics Committee approval and are conducted in designated combat arenas equipped with emergency neutralization protocols. Personnel exhibiting signs of severe mental distress or behavioral changes after exposure to SCP-Y-041 or Y-041-2 instances are to be quarantined in Site-Y2's medical wing for evaluation and treatment. If no abnormalities are detected after a period of 3 days, subjects will be transferred to the medical bay in Site-Y1 under the care of Dr. Grace. If SCP-Y-041's flames exhibit growth, increased intensity, or signs of sentience, the suppression array is to be activated, and an emergency thaumaturgic containment team is to be dispatched for analysis. Note: SCP-Y-041's containment and the behavior of Y-041-2 instances are under continuous review by the Containment and Thaumaturgic Research Divisions. Updated protocols will be disseminated as new data becomes available. Description: SCP-Y-041, designated as the Kiln of Embodiment, is an anomalous forge located within an expansive subterranean workshop beneath Site-Y2. This workshop is accessible only via a steep, stone stairwell that leads to a space anomalously larger than external measurements suggest, resembling a medieval crafting hall. The workshop features multiple specialized forges, each seemingly designated for the creation of specific types of equipment, such as armor, weaponry, and tools. Among these, SCP-Y-041 is distinguished by its constant, irrepressible flame and profound anomalous properties. Physical characteristics: SCP-Y-041 is a large, ornate forge constructed from dark, heat-resistant stone veined with faintly glowing red patterns that pulse rhythmically, resembling a heartbeat. The forge emits a persistent flame that adapts its temperature perfectly to suit the requirements of the crafting process. For example, the flame will adjust to a lower heat for soft metals like gold or a higher intensity for forging steel. The flame is described as unnaturally bright yet non-glaring, emitting light that allows for precise craftsmanship. This light also possesses subtle anomalous properties, reportedly inducing a calm yet focused state in those who work with the forge. Attempts to extinguish the flame using water, chemicals, or lack of oxygen have proven entirely ineffective. The forge bears no maker's mark or inscription, but subtle carvings along its edges depict scenes of battle, forging, and destruction, suggesting an intricate connection to both creation and warfare. Anomalous properties: crafting enhancements. SCP-Y-041 significantly enhances the forging process. Tools, weapons, and other metallic objects created with its flame are of exceptionally high quality, exhibiting durability, sharpness, or functionality beyond that of non-anomalous craftsmanship. Microscopic analysis reveals that items forged in SCP-Y-041 have a molecular structure far more uniform and precise than even the most advanced modern techniques can achieve. Dream phenomenon. Individuals who use SCP-Y-041 to craft a weapon or tool experience a series of vivid dreams over the next 3 nights. The progression of these dreams is consistent across all subjects and are as follows. Night 1. The dreamer finds themselves in a vast, dark workshop with faint red light emanating from unseen forges. Echoes of hammering and the faint whisper of a singular voice muttering to itself are audible. Night 2. The dreamer walks through a barren wasteland, littered with discarded weapons, broken tools, and piles of ash. The air is heavy with the smell of burning metal. Night 3. The dreamer enters an infinitely expanding plain of glowing coals and roaring flames. Discarded weapons form makeshift paths and structures, and the dreamer encounters SCP-Y-041-1, a humanoid figure composed entirely of ash and embers. Y-041-1 inspects the dreamer before asking,
"Will you be the perfect weapon to slay the wretched beast?"
Following the third dream, the individual fails to awaken, and their death is confirmed. The cause of death is indeterminate, with no discernible trauma or internal abnormalities, leading to speculation that their consciousness, or soul, is forcibly removed from their body. Creation of SCP-Y-041-2 instances. Upon the death of the forger, the weapon or tool created becomes an instance of SCP-Y-041-2, a sentient, sapient object that communicates telepathically with any individual who wields it. Each Y-041-2 instance retains the personality, memories, and voice of its creator, though these characteristics may evolve over time based on exposure to combat or other stimuli. Y-041-2 instances are typically capable of developing and providing anomalous capabilities to their wielder. The properties and abilities of Y-041-2 instances vary based on the personality and experiences of the creator, such as combat-oriented abilities. Y-041-2 instances forged by combative individuals often develop abilities such as enhanced wielder strength, increased reaction times, or even precognition. Non-combat-oriented traits. Y-041-2 instances created by more pacifistic individuals may exhibit defensive or utility-focused traits, such as enhanced healing for the wielder, or a localized area of aversion to violence. Behavioral shifts in Y-041-2 instances. Initially, Y-041-2 instances are often confused or distressed by their transformation. However, over time, they develop a strong desire for purpose, often expressing eagerness for combat or utility. Prolonged exposure to violence or usage in combat exacerbates this desire, with some instances exhibiting obsessive cravings for bloodshed or conflict. Individuals who wield Y-041-2 instances report feeling an unusual clarity during combat or high-stress situations. This, quote, combat clarity enhances decision-making, reaction time, and situational awareness. However, extended use of these weapons has been linked to increased aggression, compulsive behavior, and in rare cases, an unhealthy attachment to the weapon. SCP-Y-041-1. Y-041-1 is the entity encountered in the third and final dream by individuals who use SCP-Y-041. It appears as a humanoid figure composed of ash, embers, and soot, with glowing cracks throughout its body that emit intense heat and light. Y-041-1's behavior is consistent across all interactions and are as follows. It inspects the dreamer, scanning them up and down, and asks the enigmatic question,
"Will you be the perfect weapon to slay the wretched beast?"
It then dissipates into a swirling vortex of ash and flame, after which the dream ends. Y041-1 has never been directly observed outside of these dreams, and its motives, identity, and connection to SCP-Y-041 remain unknown. Notable Y041-2 instances: Y041-2 Charlie, Billy Winnow. Form: Longsword. Creator: D4726, formerly William Winnow, a convicted serial murderer. Abilities provided to the wielder: enhanced wielder reflexes and strength, progressive craving for bloodshed, and a reported visual highlighting of vital organs. Behavior: aggressive and arrogant. Frequently incites wielder to taunt enemies during combat, even on passive targets such as cows or mice. Y041-2 Beta, Gentle Cord. Form: Warhammer. Creator: E5632, a former blacksmith and pacifist. Abilities: accelerated healing for wielder, active resistance to being used for violence, inducing a low-level pacifying effect, localized roughly 12 feet around the hammer. If the pacifying effect fails, the hammer will eject itself from the wielder's hand before it can be used to harm any living creature. Behavior: compassionate and empathetic. Protests when used in combat, and attempts to convince its wielder to make peace with the target during live tests. Y041-2 Gamma, Skirmisher. Form: Tomahawk. Creator: D8912, a former soldier with exceptional spatial awareness. Imprisoned for multiple breaches of the Geneva Convention during his time in warfare. Abilities: teleportation of the weapon to the wielder's hand at will, as well as the ability to teleport the wielder to the tomahawk's position. If a wielder is in possession of Skirmisher for an extended period of time, they will develop the ability to transport targets in front of themselves based on a weight limit, which increases over time and with progressive use. Behavior: cool and calculating, increasingly obsessed with perfection in combat. Will often convince the wielder that fairness is an illusion, and the only thing that matters in the end is who still stands to tell the tale. The abilities of Y041-2 instances are typically cultivated and unlocked via combat or the taking of a life. The intensity of combat and the type of life taken all play a part in how fast the instances develop new abilities or enhancements. As the abilities of a Y041-2 instance are cultivated further, they can be carried over to new wielders, suggesting an evolution in the weapon rather than the user. The full limitations of Y041-2 instances is unknown, as progressive use almost inevitably results in extreme aggression in the sentient weapon, which is partially inherited by its wielder upon contact and becomes more apparent as the weapon is used. Due to the extremely violent nature of the most highly cultivated Y041-2 instances, they have been deemed unusable without potential catastrophic consequences. The following is a log pertaining to the first Y041-2 instance that was created upon the discovery of SCP-Y041, and it is currently the only weapon contained within Vault Theta, due to its extreme threat level after excessive cultivation of its abilities. Audio log Y041-FR2. Initial testing. Date: December 29th, 2000. Lead researcher: Dr. Elias Harper. Test subject: D8039. Daniel Morrigan. Overview: First documented use of SCP-Y-041. Begin log.
This is Dr. Elias Harper, overseeing initial testing of SCP-Y-041. Subject D8039 Daniel Morrigan has been selected for his prior experience in blacksmithing and tool crafting. Subject is equipped with basic materials, including steel ingots, and instructed to forge a weapon using SCP-Y-041.
Guess all those years of pulling scams taught me a thing or two about making tools. Always gotta look the part, eh?
Focus on the task, Morrigan. Begin the forging process.
Huh? This thing's like it knows what I'm doing. Temperature's just right every time I adjust. Normally, I have to keep fiddling with the heat. Feels natural.
Elaborate further.
Hard to put into words. It's like a forge is listening to me, matching what I'm thinking. Makes the whole process smooth. Almost too smooth. Creepy, really. Alright, it's done. Military knife, serrated blade. Solid. Balanced. Best damn piece I've ever made. And that's saying something.
Excellent work. The knife will be cataloged and tested. Report any unusual sensations or thoughts over the next 2 months.
Yeah, sure. Let's hope it's worth it.
Subject Dream Log, Night 1.
First dream wasn't too bad. I was in a massive workshop. Dark, but not scary. Glowing forges everywhere. Sound of hammers and whispers. Couldn't make out the words. They were there. Felt like I was being watched though. Didn't see anyone. Woke up drenched in sweat.
Night 2.
This one was worse. I'm walking through this wasteland. Weapons everywhere. Broken swords, axes, you name it. The air smelled like burning metal. There were piles of ash. Still felt like someone was watching me, but this time it was closer. Almost breathing down my neck.
Night 3.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. I can't. I've got a feeling I won't wake up if I do. That last dream, it just wasn't a dream. Something's waiting for me. Something bad. Don't ask me how I know. I just do.
You're required to continue this process for data collection. Stay calm, Morrigan. If necessary, we'll monitor you overnight.
Yeah, sure. Monitor all you want. But I'm telling you, I ain't waking up if I see that place again.
Dr. Harper. Ma'am, we found him. He's gone, dead in his bed. No sign of trauma, attack, or anything. He's just gone.
And the weapon?
Still on the workbench, but, it's humming.
Initial testing of the knife, forged by D8039, has revealed anomalous properties. The weapon, now designated SCP-Y-041-2 Alpha, exhibits sentience and has communicated telepathically.
What happened to me? Where am I? Who's holding me?
SCP-Y-041-2 Alpha, can you identify yourself?
I'm Daniel. No, I was Daniel. I'm something else now. The knife. You're holding me, right? It's strange, but I feel powerful, like I've got a purpose.
Progressive Ability Development. After one live test on a lab rat, Prophet's Edge developed enhanced strength in the wielder. After 5 live tests on livestock, it developed the ability to extend its blade at will. After 10 live tests, it developed the ability to give its wielder a temporary ethereal form. allowing the wielder and the blade to phase through solid objects. After 20 live tests, Prophet's Edge developed the ability to give the wielder precognitive vision, enabling them to see 1.5 seconds into the future. Behavioral shifts. Over time, Y-041-2 Alpha began referring to itself as Prophet's Edge, claiming to be destined for, quote, a greater purpose. Its tone grew increasingly commanding, and it expressed a fervent desire for combat, often lamenting its containment.
I was made for the battlefield. Don't get me here, locked away. Let me fulfill my destiny.
Y-041-2 Alpha, Prophet's Edge, represents a significant breakthrough in understanding SCP-Y-041's effects. Its sentience, ability progression, and behavioral shifts highlights the profound risks and potential of using SCP-Y-041. All further testing must be conducted under strict protocols to mitigate the unpredictable nature of Y-041-2 instances. Prophet's Edge is currently contained within Vault Theta, and it is the only Y-041-2 instance currently considered unusable due to overexposure to combat. Conclusion. SCP-Y-041, designated the Kiln of Embodiment, represents a potent and enigmatic anomaly with significant ramifications for the nature of sentience, anomalous craftsmanship, and the intersection of identity and functionality. The initial tests with D8039 and subsequent observations of Y-041-2 Alpha, Prophet's Edge, have provided critical insights into the Forge's capabilities and the risks associated with its use. The phenomenon of transference, wherein the creator of a weapon crafted using SCP-Y-041 is seemingly transformed into a sentient construct, raises profound questions about the nature of consciousness and the metaphysical implications of such a transformation. Additionally, the progression of anomalous abilities in sentient weapons, as they are used to take lives, presents significant ethical and operational challenges. The increasing assertiveness and self-assigned destiny expressed by SCP-Y-041-2 instances, as well as the enhancement of their abilities, underline the necessity for controlled testing and containment measures to prevent misuse or unforeseen escalation of their anomalous properties. Future experiments will involve the use of varied materials, alternative metals, alloys, or even non-metallic components, to assess whether SCP-Y-041's effects are consistent across all crafting mediums. Future tests will analyze the psychological profiles of test subjects and their correlation with the sentient weapon's emergent personality and abilities, as well as exploration of whether specific traits or emotional states in subjects influence the outcome or intensity of the weapon's abilities. There are plans for future research into the potential controlled use of Y-041-2 instances in high-risk operations where their abilities might provide a tactical advantage. This will include developing protocols to prevent overuse and mitigate potential escalation of aggression in sentient weapons, exploring containment solutions for sentient weapons that demonstrate excessive volatility or unmanageable abilities, dream phenomenon analysis, in-depth study of the recurring dreams experienced by users of SCP-Y-041, particularly the intersections with SCP-Y-041-1, are underway. Researchers aim to determine whether SCP-Y-041-1 is a manifestation of the Forge's anomalous properties, or an independent entity. Cross-application with other SCPs. Testing SCP-Y-041 in conjunction with other anomalies, such as SCP-Y-010, Death Knell, to analyze potential interactions or overlaps in anomalous effects. Final note: SCP-Y-041 continues to be an anomaly of immense complexity and potential. The Foundation remains committed to the responsible exploration of its properties, while maintaining rigorous containment protocols to minimize risks to personnel and operational security. All proposed tests require Level 4 authorization or higher, and are subject to the oversight of the SCP-Y-041 Research Committee, stationed at Site Y2. This is Director Waller, signing off on another report at Site Y1. I hope you'll consider subscribing to stay up to date with our latest findings. I eagerly look forward to having your audience in future reports.